So welcome everyone, and welcome to another Be One of the Voices series. Today I have a pleasure of speaking with Sally Hart. Hello Sally, and welcome to this conversation. Thank you for joining me. Sally is one of our students at Trauma-Informed Somatic Teacher and Coach for Women Training Certification. And Sally is a psychic reader and a healer and facilitator of women's circles. Yeah. So hello, Sally, and thank you so much for joining me here. It's really lovely that we get a chance to have this conversation. And I'd like to start with just simply inviting you, Sally, to tell us more about your work.
Okay, well, I'm a psychic. I've always had this ability since I was young. And then it sort of lay dormant when I was raising a family and that kind of thing. And it came back about, well, sort of maybe 8-10 years ago. And I started off by just giving psychic readings in which I connect to spirit and tell people where they're at, give advice about the future, as the spirit do, and a summing up of their situation. And sometimes people who've passed over come through. And then I started channeling Mary Magdalene. And that's been my main work now since then for about maybe 5 or 6 years. So I work with Mary Magdalene. I facilitate women's circles. I do womb healings. And I do a beautiful Luna Rosa circle. And all of it involves deep guided meditations, some kind of activity which I call digging deeper, and involves journaling and crystals and that kind of thing. And we also do a cacao ceremony. And I'm actually going to seg into why I'm doing the training, if that's all right.
Yeah, go on.
So what I found was I was giving the psychic readings, we were doing the meditations, I was doing the healing, but then something was missing. Missing part was the fact that people come with trauma, and I can see it in their bodies and I could feel it, but I didn't know, I didn't have the tools to help people to release that. They were happy and everything was perfect in the session, and they'd go away on a high, but then a few days later things would start to creep in again. And I knew, I've been trained in ACEs and that kind of thing through my other work, and I knew I needed to find somewhere where I could learn these tools to help women. It's mostly women that I work with, to so that they can learn these tools to release that trauma lodged in the body. I've got fibromyalgia, and it comes obviously from trauma lodged in the body, but I've got it under control now. And I don't want my women that I work with to have to go through what I went through. And I searched for ages to find your course. There wasn't anything women specific that got to the root of the problem. There was a lot of wafty stuff. One of them was painting with menstrual blood and that kind of stuff, and that wasn't what I wanted. I needed something more rooted in science, and which had clear practical ways of doing things, because I've got the intuitive, the psychic things. I just needed that extra bit to really embed it. And so when I came across your course, I was absolutely delighted, because this is the gap in my offerings for these women. And it's been an amazing journey since.
Yeah, I remember chatting with you when we had our initial free call, and yeah, I remember you telling me about all these other courses that you found, and how difficult it's been for you to find something that really resonated with you. And I love what you just said, about being very intuitive and working with women and seeing, being so attuned that you see what's going on for your clients, and yet knowing there is a piece missing. There is something that you need in order to really provide that long-lasting, deep transformation. Because if your clients are feeling really great in the session, and yet they go off and something happens, and then they come back and you have to almost start from scratch again, that is quite challenging and exhausting for you as a practitioner as well?
I mean, the healing lasted, I would say, when it was womb healing and things like that. I would say the healing lasted, but I feel when in the next session I could see the little it's almost like tendrils of stress, and so things had been released, and maybe you were 2/3 done, but there was that still those remaining, in the nooks and crannies, those hard to grasp little things, and that is where these practices that I've learnt with you have really come into their own.
Yeah, lovely. So it's really, I love chatting with you because, a lot of people who come to the training are kind of yoga teachers or somatic, they already do work with movement or that kind of stuff, or they come from social services, social care backgrounds, which I know that you've got some of that as well. And so how was your experience of the training? Did it meet what you were looking for?
Yeah, it absolutely meant what I was looking for. To be honest, at the beginning, I thought, oh, this is unusual because it's quite relaxed. If we need to move around, we can move around, go to the loo if we need to. And being a teacher in my other life, I'm not used to that kind of training. You sit down, you write notes, and boom, 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 boom. And it took me ages to get out of the habit of writing notes, copious notes. Because then I realized that actually I don't need to, because I can just write keynotes of what you're saying, but everything else was given to us in the presentation. So we get to keep that and so I just made sure I downloaded them all. And what I loved was the information is broken up into chunks. That's quite unusual. That's the way children learn. And yet why as adults do we expect them to sit still for hours on end, listening? So, and we know children need it, so why aren't we doing it for ourselves? Whereas you did that and you gave us time to process. And one of your key phrases is everything's an invitation, which I just love, because sometimes it may be that somebody's not quite ready for something, but that seed has been planted ready for when they are at that stage. I'm trying to think what else I would like to say. Yeah, there's quite a lot of assignments, but what I love about that is there's no deadline. I try and get them, I'm a bit, teachery, so I try and get them done the week they're set. But I've actually found that sometimes it's worth waiting a few weeks to let it marinate. And then those are my better assignments, I would say, when I've allowed them to permeate rather than, right, I've got an hour, I've got to bang this off, dunk, 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 dunk. And what I do like about the assignments is they require you to think further and how to apply what's given in a meaningful way for ourselves. So each person who writes their assignment will have a different assignment, because you're literally drawing in what's right for your own self and your own practice.
Yeah. So you're talking about the reflection assignments, that it's like when we've done we learned some kind of theory or some kind of methodology, and then we did some practices around it, and the assignments that are asking you, how did it land, or what are your insights, or what did you learn?
Yeah. And that's a really great way of learning, I think, because by writing things down, it is enabling people to embed it.
Yeah.
And I ought to mention about the cohort, because they're a lovely group of women. We all come from different backgrounds, but we've all got different things in common. And it's not like joining a course. It's like you're just having an online chat with a group of supportive, similar women. And what I love also is that you'll sometimes start a session with, we're going to be doing about X, but then as people's feedback unfolds, you then will slightly change it to what needs to be done for that day, which I really love. And that's a really intuitive way of working. It's how I work with my women and how I used to work with teaching. But it's really lovely to see that in a course format. Well, oh yeah, okay, that's fine. I know you're going through that, but we're doing this today. You wouldn't ever do it like that. It's like, oh, okay, we're feeling this. So then have you ever thought about this? And then you'll steer it in a slightly different direction, rather than, yes, I want to listen to you, but we've got work to do and we've got to do this. You would never do that. So
yeah, I guess it's like what you are talking about here is that community, isn't it? And to actually be seen, be witnessed, be held, be kind of welcomed however you are in here. And Yeah, and I know you heard before that it's not like a training, it's like being in a circle with a bit of learning
Yeah.
within that. But when you look at what we covered, because you are coming to the end of your training, the life portion of it, like we covered so much,
We
so
did.
many different theories and methodologies and practices, and we covered loads of it.
We dig deep, but we do it in a really supportive, nurturing way.
Mm.
We really, yeah, we learn the important things and mind-blowing things that I didn't even know about before. In a really deep way, the core structure is there and we follow it, but it's done, you are held and supported through it. So, and I think that's the difference with trainings I've had before. They're delivering big messages, big ideas. But you're also doing that, but in a really nurturing, and you kind of hold our hands through it, which is good.
Yeah.
If like me, who have got no, because I'm not a yoga teacher, it was a whole different world.
Yeah, I love that. And so how did it change your work? I mean, what have you observed? Because I know that you are one of those practitioners that you were taking thing and then taking it into your work straight
Yeah.
away, which is amazing to watch. So how has it changed the way that you work and with
It's
others?
it's added another aspect to the way I work. So often with my sessions, we'll start with checking in, doing a body checking in and a body scan. And then I'll move into doing some of my previous type of stuff, like I'll do healing, bringing light into the body. And then we might do something like focusing with difficult emotions or something along those lines. But what I'm kind of doing is weaving the tools and the training that I've got from this course in with what I was doing already. And it's from quite a unique way of doing things, I would say, because
Mm.
sometimes when we're saying we talk about where they feel the trauma and they're saying, oh, I feel it, oh, I don't know, in my shoulders, and I want to go, but can't you feel it in the small of your back? Because I can see it in the small of your back, but I wait for them to feel it. I said, okay, let's go now, and let's go down to the solar plexus and let's go down to the sacral. Where are we feeling? And let them come to it for themselves. But I find it quite interesting because I can already see it, but it's doing that, allowing them to find it for themselves. Whereas old Sally would have said, well, I can feel today, you're feeling it here, you're feeling it there, but they need to learn to do it. People need to learn to do it for themselves.
Yeah, that's a huge shift, isn't it?
Yeah, so
Actually, creating space and holding space for somebody to actually
yeah,
tune in and to feel it for themselves.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, because the nature of psychic reading is, oh, I can feel you've got shoulder pain, and you're telling them what, because I can already see it, but now that it's for them. And that's the empowering thing, and that enables our sessions to last. It makes a lasting change. So I would say that the sessions I'm offering now, I would say they are truly transformational. I
Lovely.
truly feel that now.
Yeah, it sounds very empowering. It,
Yeah,
it sounds like you're collaborating, that very
yeah,
trauma-informed approach, isn't it? Collaborating with your client,
yeah,
rather than telling them, I
yeah,
can see it, it's
yeah,
there.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
It's
lovely.
interesting. Yeah.
That's really great. And so, was there a part of the training that you really liked or loved
Um,
more than other parts?
it's the sense of community with the other women. And also those women are so gifted on our course. They're so talented. They're so gifted. Everyone brings something different, and I have learned so much from them. And some of them are generous enough to share some of the things they do and in the practices. And I've just learned so much from them. And I think that's also a unique thing about the way you teach, is that we can do that peer learning as well. It's not that we don't just have to have a teacher. We learn from each other as well, which has been, yeah, really useful for me. And particularly as these women do yoga as it is, and physical things, whereas I don't. Um, the more help or the more information I could get was, the better for me, really.
Yeah. Yes, I have to say that all of you come from different backgrounds. You trained in different modalities. You had different lived experience. You might work with slightly different clients. with different methodologies. And so I think there is a huge element of learning from each other.
Yes.
And I think that's what I love about, this work. Like, we all are one of the voices. We're not kind of, I'm the expert and you don't know what you're talking about. You're just a student. Actually, there is more of a collaborative approach in here. Yeah. So I guess I have a question for you. Where are you going to take it? What you already, because part of obviously completing the training is that the invitation is here to integrate even more, that create maybe your own course or program as a part of the completing and certifying.
Okay, so the next step is going to be to offer somatic trauma-informed coaching for women. And I've just got to, I've almost got it, but get the write-up so people can understand what it is I do. I'm doing coaching, but because I'm psychic, there's additional strands, and I'll also include a deep guided meditation. So that's step one. Step two is already I've got a lot of teachings through from Mary Magdalene, and I'm going to eventually be doing a mystery school. I've got about 18 months worth of content that I've got to shave down to 12 months. But I would love to include, in fact, I am doing already, including some of these tools, particularly when people start to learn to meditate and to connect. It is all about scanning the body, working out where the tension is, and then we talk about how to remove that tension. And with some of the body scan meditations that you've done with us, things like that. So I will be incorporating it into that, because the idea is if you're doing that kind of training, and it'll be, women will be a Mary Magdalene priestess, the idea is you have to embody it. And this is where the course comes in. It's all well and good talking about embodying, but I've got the skills and tools to enable women to actually definitively embody what they're learning. So that will be something that will be coming. Well, I don't want to give myself a timeline, but
well, it's coming. It's coming, and yeah, I love that.
I feel it's like birthing a child. I reckon it'll take 9 months or something.
Well, it's you have to embody it yourself as well, in order to be able to hold the space in a slightly different way for something new to be born and created. But that's amazing. That's a great vision.
I've got most of it down already. I've been running Mary Magdalene groups for about 18 months now, and I've got 4 groups at different stages now. So I've just got to get the final bits in place, really. And then,
brilliant. That sounds amazing. Yeah.
It'll be sorted.
Yay. I look forward to kind of, seeing all of that as a finished thing. Yeah, finished project. That's really great.
I want to say actually that because I'm not going to be doing this for a while, what I love about your course is the fact that I found out the other day that we can dip back in. You've got these question and answer sessions.
Yes.
And I think that'll be so useful, because I feel that I need, like you just said, I want this course to marinate and to percolate through a bit more and to embody it and live it. And then there will be questions or things that I need help with, but that's where, for a year afterwards, we've got this opportunity to be able to meet, do a group chat, don't you? Is it monthly?
It is the monthly question and answer sessions, yes. And, all the cohorts are welcomed, and it's nice to see people who, completed, or they are just coming to the completion, or they only just started. And and it's the same questions. Like, we all struggle with similar kind of things. Normally is like, how do I translate it now into, earning money from it and being more visible and sharing this piece of work that is, I feel so passionate about. And
it's enabling people to understand the energy of it, isn't it? And the power. It's somehow it's getting people to really understand the magic that can take place when you do these sessions.
Yes,
it is. I know it's scientific, but it feels like magic
But
That's
you know, but what is magic,
yeah,
or what is science if not
yeah,
magic? You know, that we
true.
don't yet understand the science behind.
Yeah,
And
oh, yeah, yeah, that's true. Yeah, yeah,
it's I think ultimately what's really beautiful is, you know, every single person, and the female practitioner that's been, including you, taking part in the training, you all are finding your own way, you
mm,
know. And I particularly liked it with you because your background is different from maybe many
yeah,
other participants of the training. And, you know, you are finding your own unique way and your unique blend. And you know, I loved how through the training you were like, oh, but you are more sciencey than I am.
yeah, more
But
yokery.
yeah, but ultimately, you know, how do you translate it? You take this theory, you take this understanding, and then how do you translate it? Because you can't, that's not the bit, you know, you might teach your students about polyvagal theory and the
Yes,
hierarchy and all of that, but actually, how much of it are you going to teach them? And because what's relevant to them? What is
yeah,
the bit that actually make difference to them? And what is just like the sciencey stuff that
yes,
you need to understand as a practitioner,
yeah,
but they don't
no,
necessarily need to go too deeply into it. They just need
yeah,
to know, you know, what are the practices that are helping them to become more regulated, feeling safe enough, you know, being more present, having a better quality of life, having that healing that they wanted. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So
That's it.
yeah. So could I just ask if there was something about the training that you like people to know? There are a few things that you already said, but if there was somebody, you know, thinking about the training and they were not kind of sure whether it is right for them, I mean, what would you say?
First of all, I'd say that this training is right for everybody because just as you just said, you can adapt it in your own way. What you need to learn the stuff, but then you will apply it in your own way. And I think it really does need to be underlined that you don't have to be a yoga teacher,
Okay.
because that was one of the things that I saw and I thought, oh, you know, it feels a bit yoga-ish. But then I thought, no, because I know I need to learn this aspect. So I think that's important that people know that. And also it's not just a course, it's a journey of transformation of yourself.
Mm.
Um, because obviously we're learning these tools and practices to help others, but really at the beginning we're experiencing them for ourselves, and we have gone on this journey. Um, and that's quite amazing, really, that you go on a course because you think you're going to be helping others. But in actual fact, the first person you help is yourself, which is how it's meant to be. But often healers and psychics and people in those sorts of professions and people in a caring profession give, give, give. But when do they receive?
Yeah.
And we get to receive through this process.
Yeah. Lovely. Oh,
It's
you
time.
said it so beautifully. Oh, thank you so much,
You're
Sally,
welcome.
for taking time to chat with me and share about your work and your experience of the training. And I am really looking forward to, you know, seeing your future project and how it all works. And yeah, thank you for being part of the training.
Oh, thank you. It's been an absolute joy.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And I look forward to seeing you in the training itself.